Okay, so we are studying about three types of stresses and three types of strains. Stress, which is restoring force per unit area, we call it as stress, whereas the change in configuration to original configuration is called as strain. Okay, so three types of stresses and three types of strains we have studied. Then Hooke's law, which states that stress is directly proportional to strain. Okay, provided the deforming forces within the elastic limit. Okay, so within the elastic limit, stress is directly proportional to strain. So how will be the graph between stress and strain? Okay, as stress is directly proportional to strain within the elastic limit. So the graph between strain and stress will be a straight line passing to the origin, directly proportional. So it will be a straight line passing to the origin. Okay, and this point, this will be the maximum limit of the deforming force, which we call it as the elastic limit. Okay, and the slope of this line, we know that slope is given by tan theta, and tan theta is equal to, make any triangle, perpendicular upon base. Okay, perpendicular here is stress and base is strain. So the slope is given stress upon strain, which we know is equal to modulus of elasticity. So the slope of the line gives the modulus of elasticity. Okay, so you may note it down, stress directly proportional to strain. So the graph is as shown, and the slope of the line is giving the modulus of elasticity, or vice versa. The modulus of elasticity is given by the slope of the line. And slope, how do we find out? Tan theta. Tan theta, complete any one triangle, stress upon strain, and we know that stress upon strain is modulus of elasticity. Okay, now write down types of modulus of elasticity. Types of moduli of, okay, moduli of elasticity. The first one is Young's modulus of elasticity. Okay, now corresponding to three stresses and three strains, will get three moduli of elasticities. Okay, the plural of modulus is moduli. Okay, so three moduli of elasticities here we are going to study. The first modulus of elasticity is Young's modulus of elasticity. Young's modulus of elasticity. Okay, now Young's modulus of elasticity, it is defined as within the elastic limit, the ratio of the longitudinal stress to the longitudinal strain. Okay, that is the longitudinal stress is directly, the first type of stress which we have studied is longitudinal normal stress. Whenever the wire elongates or the rod elongates, the deforming force is applied in such a way that the wire elongates, then the stress which is produced, we call it as the longitudinal stress. And the first type of strain which we have studied is longitudinal strain, which is the change in length to original length. Okay, so write down Young's modulus of elasticity. Write down within the elastic limit, within the elastic limit, the ratio of longitudinal stress, the ratio of longitudinal stress to longitudinal strain, the ratio of longitudinal stress to longitudinal strain is called as Young's modulus of elasticity. Is called as Young's modulus of elasticity. Okay, so within the elastic limit, the ratio of the longitudinal stress to the longitudinal strain. Okay, that is the deforming force which is applied, it should be within the elastic limit. It should not exceed the elastic limit. And what is elastic limit? It is the deforming force beyond which the body loses its property of elasticity. Okay, so Young's modulus of elasticity is given by longitudinal stress upon longitudinal strain. Okay, now let's find its expression. Let there is a wire. One end of the wire is attached to a rigid support and the other end, which is the free end, of course, that is, it is loaded by a weight mg. It is loaded by a weight mg. If n is its mass, the weight is mg in the downward direction. Okay. Now let the original length of this wire is capital L. The original length is capital L. But when it is loaded by this weight mg, its length slightly increases. Okay. Now let the length increases by delta L. Let the length increases by delta L. Okay, and the cross-sectional area on which this force is applied, let the cross-sectional area is capital A. Okay, the cross-sectional area is capital A. So a wire or a rod whose one end is placed to the rigid support, and the other end which is loaded by a weight mg. That is, a weight is attached to this, the free end, which is mg. Okay, and let the cross-sectional area is A. Original length L. On loading, let its length increases by delta L. Okay, now longitudinal stresses force per unit area. And what is the longitudinal strain? The change in length upon original length, that is delta L upon the original length. Now this can be written as force upon area. Okay, A upon B divided by C upon D, A upon B into B by C into L upon delta L. Okay, now what is the force over here applied? N is the mass, then mg is its weight. So the force is mg. And what will be the cross-sectional area of the wire? When you see the cross-sectional area, it will be a circle. And the circle and the area of the circle we know is pi r square, where r is the radius. So what is the cross-sectional area? Pi r square L upon delta L is the expression for Young's modulus of elasticity. So y is given by mg upon pi r square into the original length upon increase in length. Okay, note it down. Y is longitudinal stress upon longitudinal strain. So we consider a wire which is loaded at its free end by a weight mg. Let the cross-sectional area of the wire is capital A, and the cross-sectional area of the wire will be a circle, and the area of the circle is pi r square. Okay, on loading, let its length increases by delta L. Okay, so when it is loaded, let its length increases due to the deforming force mg. The configuration of in length changes, that is, its length increases. Okay, let the length is increased by delta L, where the original length, let it is equal to capital L. So y is longitudinal stress upon longitudinal strain. Longitudinal stress is force per unit area, and the longitudinal strain is the increase in length upon original length. Okay, so you get this expression mg upon pi r square into L upon delta L. Okay, now this Young's modulus of elasticity is applicable only for the solids. Okay, for the liquids the length cannot increase, for gases also the length cannot increase. Okay, so it is applicable only for solids. So here you may write down Y is applicable. Y is what? Young's modulus of elasticity. Y is applicable only for solids. Y, which is the Young's modulus of velocity, is applicable only for solids. Okay, now the second one is bulk modulus of velocity. Write the second one. Bulk modulus of velocity. Okay, now bulk modulus of velocity. It is defined as within the elastic limit, the ratio of the volumetric stress to volumetric strain. So write down within the elastic limit, the ratio of volumetric stress to volumetric strain. The ratio of volumetric stress to volumetric strain is called as bulk modulus of elasticity, which is denoted by B. Okay, and it is denoted by B. So bulk modulus of elasticity, you can define it. Okay, it is the ratio of the volumetric stress to volumetric strain. Okay, but the deforming force should be within the elastic limit. So how is it defined? Within the elastic limit, the ratio of the volumetric stress to the volumetric strain, we call it as bulk modulus of elasticity. Okay, now let us consider a sphere is placed deep inside water. Okay, one example here we are considering. A sphere is placed deep inside water. So the water will exert pressure on this sphere from all sides. Okay, this is the deforming force acting per unit area. So this we may also call it as pressure. So here the force per unit area may be called as the pressure. Okay, as water is exerting the deforming force from all sides, so the volume of it decreases. Let the volume decreases by delta V. Okay, without any change in its shape, the volume is changing. The shape is still the sphere only. Okay, the shape is not changing, only the volume decreases. Let it decreases by delta V. So what is the volumetric stress? Force per unit area, and the volumetric strain is the change in volume. Okay, there is a decrease in volume delta V upon the original volume. We call it as volumetric strain. Delta V upon V is called as the. What is this force per unit area? This is pressure. Pressure upon delta V. Water is exerting pressure, any liquid. The sphere will be placed in any liquid. Okay, now here we put a negative sign in front of it. Why we put the negative sign? As the pressure increases, the volume decreases more. Okay, due to the increase in pressure, the volume is decreasing. So that is why we have put the negative sign. So the bulk modulus of elasticity is given by this expression minus P upon delta V by V. Okay, or you can take this V over here, minus PV upon delta V. Okay, as you wish, you can write down. So note it down. Bulk modulus of elasticity, how do we define? Within the elastic limit, the ratio of the volumetric stress to the volumetric strain. Okay, so here we have considered one example, a sphere placed deep inside water. So the water is exerting pressure from all sides on the sphere. Due to this pressure, the volume of the sphere decreases. Okay, let it decreases by delta V. Okay, so volumetric stress is pressure, and the volumetric strain is delta V upon V, that is the change in volume upon original volume. Here the change in volume is the decrease in volume. So we put a negative sign, where the negative sign is indicating that with the increase in pressure, volume decreases. So write down here, after noting it down, the expression of bulk modulus, write down. Here negative sign indicates, here Negative sign indicates that with the increase in pressure, the volume decreases. With the increase in pressure, the volume decreases. Okay, so what is negative sign indicating? As we increase the delta, V will decrease more. So that is why we put that negative sign. Okay, now bulk modulus is applicable for all three states of matter, for solids, liquids as well as gases. Okay, liquids and all gases also. Suppose you take water in a balloon and press it. Okay, what happens due to that pressure? The volume of the balloon, that is the volume of the water inside, decreases, or you can fill it up with air, inflate it with air and again press it, volume of the air decreases. So it is applicable for all three states of matter, solids, liquids and gases. So write down B is applicable, B means bulk modulus of velocity. B is applicable for all three states of matter. B is applicable for all three states of matter, that is solids, liquids and gases. That is solids, liquids and gases. Okay, what will be its SI unit? Newton per meter square. Okay, any modulus of velocity will have the same unit. Young's modulus, bulk modulus, one more modulus of velocity we are going to study. Any type of modulus of velocity will have the same unit, that is Newton per meter square. The same like a stress, because strain doesn't have any unit. Okay, here we will study one small definition, compressibility. Write down compressibility. Write down, it is the reciprocal of bulk modulus of velocity. Compressibility is the reciprocal of bulk modulus of velocity. Compressibility is the reciprocal of bulk modulus of velocity. So what will be its unit? Inverse of bulk modulus of, so unit of C is will be meters per Newton, or Newton raised to the power minus 1 meters per. So the unit of compressibility, which is the reciprocal of bulk modulus of velocity, will be Newton raised to the power minus 1 into meters per. Newton inverse meters per. Write the question. Okay, note it down. Compressibility, one small definition here we have studied. Now write one question. What is the bulk modulus? What is the bulk modulus for an incompressible substance? For an incompressible substance. Okay, incompressible means the substance which cannot be compressed at all. That is, its compressibility is 0. What will be its modulus of elasticity? We know that C is equal to 1 upon B. So B will be equal to 1 upon C. Here compressibility is 0. Incompressible. Incompressible means cannot be compressed at all. Okay, so its compressibility is 0 and 1 upon 0 is infinite. So what will be its bulk modulus? Its bulk modulus will be infinite. It will have infinite bulk modulus of velocity. Write one more question. Write down which is more elastic, water or air. Water or air. With a reason, give reason also. Which is more elastic, water or air? bigger reason. Okay, the one which is having more bulk modulus of elasticity will be more elastic. Now, which one will have more bulk modulus of elasticity? The one which is less compressible. Why? We know that bulk modulus is the reciprocal of compressibility. Okay, more compressible, less elastic. Less compressible, more elastic. Which one is less compressible between water or air? Okay, you can unmute and give the answer. Which is less compressible? Okay, obviously water is less.
Water.
Yes, water is less compressible than air. Okay, so the compressibility of water is less than that of air. So bulk modulus of water will be more than that of air. So water is more elastic. Okay, so water is more elastic than air. Okay, now the third type of modulus of elasticity we'll study is modulus of rigidity. Okay, now write the third type, modulus of rigidity. Write down, it is defined as the ratio of shear stress to shear strain. The ratio of shear stress to shear strain. The ratio of shear stress to shear strain, we call it as modulus of rigidity, which we denote it by capital G. Okay, shear stress, that is, it is also called as tangential stress. Why we call it as tangential stress? Because the force which is applied is tangential to the surface. Okay, so the same figure. Let there is a cube and the lower face of the cube is fixed to a rigid socket. The lower face is fixed. Okay, the lower face cannot be moved. Now, a tangential force is applied on the upper face. A tangential force is applied on the upper face so that the shape of the cube changes without any change in its volume. Only what is changing? The shape is changing. That is, this cube will be tilted by some small angle theta. Okay, let us consider that this side shifts through a distance L. Okay, now we know that shear stress is this tangential force upon area of the upper face, because this force is applied on the upper face. And what is the shear strain, which is measured by angle theta? This we have already studied, which is equal to, okay, force per unit area into theta. Theta is equal to, write it like this only, upon theta. Theta is equal to delta L upon L. Theta is very, very small. So, can be taken equal to tan theta, which is equal to delta L upon L. So, G here is equal to force upon area into L upon delta L. Okay, here the area will be the area of the upper face. The area of the upper face of the cube. Okay, force is this tangential force which is applied externally. L is the side of the cube and delta L is the side which is shifted by the small distance, that is delta L. So G is given by this expression. Okay, now obviously this modulus of rigidity is also applicable only for solids. For liquids and gases, you cannot apply the tangential force. You cannot apply a force which is tangential to the water surface, to the liquid surface, to the air surface. It cannot be applied. So G is also applicable only for solids. So note it down and then write down. Okay, draw the figure also. Okay, this expression is coming like the same as Young's modulus of elasticity, but there the force is mg, the weight which is hung, okay, at the free end of the wire. Here the force is the tangential force. There the area is cross-sectional area of the wire, which is pi r square, which will look like a circle. So that area is pi r square. Here the area is the area of the upper face of the cube. Okay, there the length is length of the wire. Here L is the side of the cube. Delta L in Young's modulus, it is the increase in length. Here delta L is the side by which it shifts to a distance, that is delta L. So write down G is applicable. G is applicable only for solids. G is applicable only for solids. Okay, it cannot be applied for liquids and gases. So write a question. What is the modulus of rigidity for water? What is the modulus of rigidity for water? Can you apply tangential force on water? On the water surface? Not possible. Okay, so what is the force? 0. Force per unit area 0 only, that is the shear stress is 0, the tangential stress is 0. So what is the modulus of rigidity? 0. Okay, so write down. As tangential force cannot be applied, as tangential force cannot be applied on the surface of water, so its modulus of rigidity is 0. So its modulus of rigidity is 0. Okay, now here we'll study a graph, stress versus strain graph for a wire which is loaded, okay, loaded by some weight until the wire breaks. Okay, so we have to keep on increasing the weight till the wire breaks, and then we'll plot a graph between stress and strain. So write the heading: stress versus strain curve. Stress versus strain curve for a loaded wire. Okay, till it breaks. Till it breaks. Okay, till the wire breaks, we have to plot the graph between stress and strain. So continuously, okay, gradually the load on the wire is increased. Okay, now this is the wire, whose cross-sectional area is A, original length is L. Okay, this is the weight mg, and this mg is gradually increased, okay, till the wire breaks, and then we'll plot a graph between stress and strain. Along y-axis, we'll take its stress, and along x-axis, strain. So stress versus strain. Okay, this point is 0. 0 means the wire, no load is there on the wire, no stress, no elongation, no strain. Okay, so here stress will be directly proportional to the load. Okay, As you are loading, it means you are increasing the stress. Okay, and as you are loading, the length of the wire is increasing, so strain is directly proportional to the extension, the increase in length. So here stress means the load on the wire, okay, which is directly proportional to load, mg. Okay, and strain means the extension, extension means the increasing length, delta. Okay, when the wire is unloaded, that is there is no load on the wire, what is the strain in the wire? No strain. It is at its original length, it acquires its original length. Okay, now as the stress is increased, according to Hooke's law, the strain also increases. The stress is directly proportional to strain. So what type of graph we get? O to a straight line which is passing through the origin having some slope, and what is the slope of the line giving? Here it is a wire, so it will give Young's modulus of elasticity. Okay, so O point, no stress means no load on the wire. Okay, now as the stress is increased, the strain also increases by the same amount according to Hooke's law. So we reach a point A, where this point A is called as the proportionality limit. Proportionality limit, that is, stress is directly proportional to strain. Okay, now further we increase the stress by a small amount. Here the strain will be comparatively more, a little more. We obtain a point B. Okay, a point B is obtained. At this point B, if we unload the wire, if we remove the stress, the wire comes back to its original configuration. That is, the wire comes back to the point O. That is still the body, the wire possesses the property of elasticity. So this point B, we call it as the elastic limit. Why? Because still at this point also, at this point of deforming force, the wire possesses the property of elasticity. That is, when we unload it, it will come back to the point O. So point B is called as the elastic limit. It is called as elastic limit. Okay, now further the load is increased. Further the load is increased. Now strain will be comparatively more as compared to the stress. That is, we obtain a point C which is called as the yield point. This point is called as the yield point. And if we unload the wire at point C, if we remove the load, the wire will not come back to its original configuration to the point O. It reaches to a point O dash. O dash is called as the permanent strain in the body. Okay, we have increased the deforming force beyond B, beyond the elastic limit, and then we unload it. What happens? It doesn't come back to its original configuration, but it reaches a point O dash. That is, some permanent strain is there now in the wire. So O dash is called as the permanent strain. Okay, or it is also called as the permanent set. Permanent set or permanent strain. Okay, because it doesn't come back. Now beyond this point C, beyond this yield point, the wire begins to flow like a liquid. That is, without any stress also. There will be some strain in the wire. No stress applied, but still there is a strain, and the strain comparatively increases, and we reach a point E where the wire finally breaks. Okay, beyond this point C, without any stress, no stress is there. Okay, but still there will be some strain in the wire. That is, at some points the wire will become very, very thin. Necks and waves are developed in the wire. At some points the wire will become very thin, and ultimately it breaks at point E. So this point E is called as the breaking point. This is called as the breaking point of the wire. And the stress corresponding to this point E, the stress corresponding to the point E, we call it as the breaking stress. It is called as breaking stress. Okay, now O to B region is the elastic region. Okay, it is obeying the property of elasticity. B to E region is the plastic region. Okay, it doesn't have the property of elasticity. So O to B region is called as elastic region, and beyond that is B to E region is called as the plastic region. Okay, note it down. Then on the next term, I'll dictate about it. You draw the figure and note down all the points. Okay, note it down. By the time I'll take your attendance. Okay, this is the stress versus strain curve for a loaded wire, and we are loading until the wire breaks. Okay, and write all the points. Write all the points. Okay, as written on the board. Write all the points.